This is Rich and Charlie with Operation Legacy Light to My Path coaching series. Today we're talking about exercise 11, budgeting your time.
Thank you, Rich. On page 166, when you think about time, I want you to think about your time, whatever you're doing right now. Time is a count, a measure, a clock, a schedule, calculate. Budget is accounting for or a plan. Priority, main concern, precedence, right of way. Those are the decisions. But when you start thinking about your time, the time that you invest, we either waste time, and I was a big time waster early on. We spend time and we invest time. And the reason we break it down that way, and the main point, is that when you invest time, you expect a return. 2 minutes away, 2 minutes in the past is history. 2 minutes ago is history. We can't do anything about it. So as you're transitioning out, it is really important to think about your time as a good investment, because it's going to be, it could be challenging in this transition process, and more than likely it is. So you don't want to waste your time.
That's right, Charlie. Thanks for that. And Ecclesiastes 3 talks about God's perspective on there's a time for many different things. And there's a time and a season for every activity under heaven. And this is the time for your transition. It doesn't matter when you've gone out of the military. If you're ready to get out, or if you were in the Vietnam era or the current Iraq-Afghan conflict, this is the time for your transition. We each have 168 hours in a week. So there's one thing that everybody on this earth has, whether you're living in poverty or you're a multi-billionaire, it's 168 hours a week.
Right.
And we have exercises in this chapter where you actually will do a baseline of where you think you're spending your time. It's amazing how many people really don't have a understanding or awareness of how they're spending their time. You can look at your life wheel, and there's the exercise where you write down how much time you're spending for different areas of your life wheel. And then once it's written down, you can ask yourself, should I be spending more time or less time on this? And is my time being effectively invested? Because we like to think of time as an investment, as Charlie said, with a return on that investment.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Rich. And also, none of us really likes to waste our time. And one of the things that I found that helped me many, many years ago was writing down what I needed to get done that day. And that turned into a to-do list. Now I have an informal to-do list, stuff around the house or stuff around your apartment or wherever it is that you reside. But having a to-do list of activities throughout the day, that's a second and separate to-do list. And then you can go as formal as making it electronic. I have my daily calendar and daily planner on my phone. And because electronics is such a big deal these days, and it's very easy to keep track, I have a hard copy calendar at home, and I also have it on my calendar, so I don't double book. The family may have another event going on that I don't know about, but we make sure that they match. So that's just one idea of how I control my time.
That's right. So much of the structure that we're offering here is to actually help to counteract our tendency to procrastinate or to be busy in areas that aren't in our critical path for our goals, because it's very easy to get distracted, and sometimes we can't avoid that. We have to step out of the path for a while and take care of something, but coming back into the path, being productive every single day is important. Proverbs is just packed with verses on being productive and so on and so forth. So we're talking about getting focused on what we need to do efficiently to get the work done, to get the tasks done, to achieve our goals, to take care of our family. At the same time, though, we need to also build in rest into our schedule, and God gave us a Sabbath day for a Sabbath rest to spend with Him because He knew it was important. We needed to rest and we needed to spend time with Him. Hebrews 4, 9, and 10 says, "For anyone who enters God's rest also rests from their works, just as God did from His." Right. God gave Himself a day of rest. He spent 6 days creating our world and the universe, and then He took a break.
Yeah.
That says a lot to me.
So when you start thinking, thank you, Rich, for that, because when you start thinking about the personality types, how many of us are type A personalities? that we always have to be doing things. We always are mission oriented. That's one of the things we learned in the military. But as you're transitioning out, yeah, it might be a little bit intense, and you might have different missions based on this, the life wheel. But you know what? Rich is exactly right. Take a rest. You know, you can put rest time in your calendar. That way you can check it off. There's nothing more gratifying than having a to-do list and
That's right.
checking off.
That's
You know,
right.
because those are little successes. Those are little advances that you're making in your life.
Yeah. And then be aware of the time stealers. We make a big deal about time stealers. What are those time stealers? Television, video games, Facebook. Come on, you know what I'm talking about here. Twitter, social media, friends that are constantly just calling and talking about just whatever's coming up. You know, these are distractions that will keep us from achieving our goals. There are so many distractions, no shortage of that today. Everything's about feeling good, about having fun, about getting, you know, spending money and getting things that don't really have a whole lot of redemptive value in them. So be very aware of those time stealers. They will steal your dreams and goals without even you being aware of it.
Exactly. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah.
I heard a statistic just yesterday, and it was on TV, right? And it said that most college students, the females, spend 9 hours a day on their electronic device, whether it's a phone or it's a tablet or whatever, and socializing. And then the young men spend a little less time. Now, I know that our electronic devices, like this right here, do take a lot of our time. And sometimes it's very fruitful, and you expect the return on your investment of time on that appliance. But just be aware that don't waste a whole lot of time, especially when you're transitioning out. And we're not bad-mouthing the electronics. We're just saying be aware of your time.
Yeah, this will come in and it'll steal your life from you if you're not careful, you know. So be very diligent, selfish with your time in good ways, you know.
Yes.
You have your life wheel. Each of those slices of the pie takes time to develop, nurture the relationships that are important to you. You know, the video games, they will just make you lose all track of time. You know, and there's addictions. There's also addictions with social media.
Thank you, Rich. And also on page 180, and we'll just hold this up to show you. On page 180, you have a time budget exercise. And we're simply asking you, and there are many other questions in journaling pages, but on this exercise, we're asking you, what are the current hours that you're spending in each area of your life, of the life wheel? And where would you like more time, and where do you want less time? And I used to drive many, many hours, and so when I was filling my own exercise out, I would say I want less driving time. I used to drive 100 miles every day, 5 days a week for about 25 years. And when you're in Southern California traffic on the 405 freeway, it's bumper to bumper, and I'll tell you, that's not fun all the time.
That's right. So in closing, one of my favorite fruits of the Spirit, self-control, that discipline. We encourage you to provide a little bit of structure here with some of these charts, some of the format. This is an area where a little bit of structure will take you a long way. And if you are, you know, working next to undisciplined people with their time, you will see yourself starting to accelerate and starting to pass others up, achieving your goals and so forth. And that's just something that that you can crack the code on. You can get a lot of gain and value out of providing this structure to identify your time and prioritize where it needs to be spent. And thank you very much for coming along with this one. Come on back. We're going to be having many more exercises and many more helpful tips and techniques for you achieving your life of purpose, meaning, and happiness.
Right. Thank you very much, and more to come.
Bye now.